Good morning, everyone, and we're delighted to be here on Friday morning as the final roundup of our videos, which we hope you've enjoyed for International Fraud Awareness Week. And what better way to end it than talking to the staff that work in Roscommon Credit Union. So I'm joined here on my right by Patrick and Agnes on my left, and Declan, who work across all 4 branches at different stages throughout the year. So we might start with yourself, Patrick, and we'll talk about Roscommon Credit Union app. If I wanted to get the app, or any member or follower that's watching us this morning wanted to get the app, what's the best way of going about it?
We've a very sought after app here in Roscommon Credit Union. It's very handy and it's a great service to have for the member. The member usually emails or gives us a phone call. We have 2 verifications, so your photo ID and your proof of address, to make sure that it's the right member. Then there's another series of verifications to get it onto your device. You'll either have it on your app or we can go through our website. So it's very secure. Now, we'll never contact you to get you onto an app. So what I say to people is, you're the one that's going to be looking for it. We'll never solicit it. We'll never send you a text message. We'll never send you a link. We'll never look for information.
You're not going to ring anyone and say, come on, you need to download this.
It's not going to be me, Bernie. It's not going to be anyone from the credit union.
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah. And if I wanted to actually download it, where do you suggest? Where's the best place?
Definitely, I'd say go through your app store. Your app store is going to have a direct link onto it, and it'll be the proper version of it. Sometimes if you go into a search engine, it'll give the fraudsters a chance to have a link to a fraudulent website. There might be subtle changes in the website, but it might be a fraudulent one. So to go through the app store is definitely the best way, Bernie. Yeah,
okay,
definitely.
No, that's great advice, Patrick. And another, I suppose, anti-fraud measure that we have in Roscommon Credit Union is that you must make a phone call into the credit union to verify a payee for the first time before you make that payment.
Yes.
Now, it can be frustrating, I'm sure, for members that want to transfer money quickly and efficiently, but I suppose it is there as an anti-fraud protection measure.
Again, yeah, it's another bit of safety we have for the members. You have to save down your payee, you'll get your security codes in, and then you have to ring us in the credit union. So it'll go through a lot of stages, but it's for your own safety. It's money that's going to leave your account. So on the back of that as well, what I'd say to you is never give your information for your online to anybody else, because it's effectively just giving away your money. So keep a tight control of it. We keep a tight control of it for you as well. So you have to do the same thing. Never give your information out. We'll never look for it off you unless you come to us.
Okay, so that's great advice, Patrick. So I suppose a roundup of that is we don't make any phone calls out. We're not going to ask anybody to download the app immediately and start giving us their information. So there is lots of those scams out there at the moment, but you need to know that your credit union will not be the one behind it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Patrick. Over to yourself, Agnes. So you're working in our lending department. Can you tell us about any, I suppose, ways that fraud has been tried on some of our members, or scenarios that you're aware of?
I suppose, Bernie, fraud had been attempted maybe 2 weeks ago with one of our members who had a loan application on with ourselves here at Roscommon Credit Union. They received a phone call from someone saying that they were from the credit union and that they were looking to confirm a few details with them. So they had the name and address of the member. They were looking for them to confirm their PPSN number, which the member unfortunately did. But it was when the person asked for a card payment to be made for €100 in order for the loan to be approved. That's when the suspicion, the alarms bells rang with the member to say that there was something wrong with that. So they ended the call. Then they went on to ring ourselves here at Roscommon Credit Union to advise of the attempted scam. And they also then said that during our conversation, they said that the call had come through WhatsApp. So I suppose just to let our members know that Roscommon Credit Union would never contact any of our members through WhatsApp. If we were contacting a member with regard to loan, it would either be by landline numbers, so either from the Roscommon branch, the Balhadreen branch, the Elphin or Strokestown branches, or we would contact them directly by email, but we would never contact the member by WhatsApp.
And I suppose we never ask members to pay in advance, in advance of a decision being made.
No, we would never ask a member for any money like that over the phone.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be our protocol.
Yeah, and certainly not via WhatsApp.
And definitely not via WhatsApp.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thanks a million, Agnes. And Declan, over to yourself. You're kind of involved in that area, and you would have spoken with a good few members that would have been affected by different types of fraud, not necessarily with their credit union account, but there might have been some crossover. Can you tell us about some of those stories, Declan?
Yeah, so I have, I suppose, a few points to touch on this morning, Bernie. And we all know how sophisticated and realistic these scam attempts and unfortunately that the attacks actually that have been carried out, they've become very, very sophisticated, and somewhat you can't detect whether they actually are a scam in some initial cases. However, I think one of the scenarios, and we learned here in the credit union there that we heard from outside, that we actually, a member bought a set of concert tickets on a very reputable website, and with that then shortly in quick succession to buying those tickets, they got a text message reporting to be from the credit union. With that then they asked that they needed to update their phone number, so just one simple piece of information, which was their phone number, to update for their online credit union account. I suppose in this case, you'd nearly call them victims at this stage, or financial victims, actually sent back their phone number to in response to the text message. This gave the fraudster the first step in, I suppose, in the wheel to start carrying out the attack. Now, the fraudster then rang the person purporting to be from the credit union, which all seemed very legitimate at this point. He was saying that he needs to update his phone number on his account, and that he's going to send a push notification of a one-time passcode, also known as an OTP, to the person, and that when they receive it, to call it back to them. So they carried out with that, and they called back this 6-digit OTP to the fraudster. So kind of after that, the phone call then ended, again raising very little suspicion to the actual person themselves, to think that they actually are now in the very bang in the middle of actually being a victim of a fraudulent attack. So in the background, the person carried out went about their evening, but the fraudster in the background put through a small amount of money in the background and transferred that out of their account. This then raised no suspicion to the credit union because it was so little. But this is how they monitor to see, is there any eyes on them at this point. So with that, I suppose carried out successfully, and they put through another smaller amount, and the following day they fully cleared the account. And it's at that point, and in some cases it may be too late to do anything, because the money then has possibly gone out of the account. I suppose the learnings from the scenario that I've just spoke about is that we would never, as a credit union, send a message in order for you to update your details by text message or even by email if the member hasn't initiated contact with us prior to this engagement. So it's definitely one for people to watch out for.
And a very popular one there, Declan, that you've heard, and it's not even just the credit union. It could be a text message to do with DPD, to do with Post, to do with eFlow. It's all those types, but I suppose we're just trying to create the awareness around those types of scams that are out there.
And it may not be the credit union that's compromised. It may be the end account. So we'll take the bank account, for example. It's actually the bank account that has been compromised. However, it starts with the fraudster looking for, sending this text message with a sense of urgency to, I suppose, your credit union has been compromised, so please transfer all your funds to your bank account. They are waiting at the end. They're ready for you to act on this, and that's the techniques that these fraudsters use. They have styles, they have techniques, and they are very, very, I suppose, professional in the field of what they do. They act on people's emotions. you know, people are busy with work, and they just they don't take that second to think. So I think for what we would like to say to our members is just take that second to think, is this right, I suppose, or should I just you know, it's no harm that you can contact the credit union to say, did you send me a text message?
Go with your gut.
Go with your gut. It's usually right. So it's definitely you know, it's very vivid at the moment, and there's a lot happening around it. So I suppose that's why we're here today, to try and give that, you know, if we can,
No, that's
little
great,
piece of
Declan.
information. Yeah.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thanks very much. Hopefully you've enjoyed those, or you know, they can be scary stories as well, but I suppose we all have to live our daily life, and I suppose fraud is part of that. But it's just about being aware, and we're just trying, by sharing those stories, we're trying to make our members and followers aware of the dangers that is out there. But you know, as all three of our staff here have said, it's all about not sharing the information with the wrong people. Go with your gut. Nothing is that urgent, and stop and think. And don't be afraid to ring back or make a phone call to, whether it's the post office, the credit union, the bank, you know, the concert ticket seller, whatever. Just stop and think and take that moment. That's all from us on this Friday. Thanks very much.